Hey everyone, welcome to Holistic Lifestyle Tips, getting real about the woo-woo. I'm Becky Russell, owner of wellness company Hope Essential, and I am a essential oil educator and a holistic lifestyle educator, and that means I love to teach. And I just feel called to share what I've learned on my journey of following a holistic lifestyle for over 25 years. I feel it served me well because I have not been blessed genetically. And if I had followed the traditional route to, um, you know, as far as health, I believe I would be on tons of medications by now. And I don't want that. It didn't lead to a quality of life for loved ones. And I just decided to look for different ways. And a holistic lifestyle is basically uh, treating the entire body, mind, body, and soul from the inside out, and trying to get to the root of your health concerns versus just treating symptoms. And when I found doTERRA several years ago, they were just a perfect fit with the holistic approach because the oils not only have therapeutic benefits, but they are great tools for helping to limit the amount of chemicals you put on and in your body. And that chemicals will aid you a lot and do nothing to help you age with a quality of life. And that is just super important to me. I never saw that modeled, and I think we all deserve that. And I want to share what I learned so that you can come along with me. And I don't have all the answers. I am not saying that, but I am constantly searching, learning, growing, and I just feel called to share what I learn along the way and maybe open your mind to what holistic is, who it's for, which is basically anyone with an open mind to look at wellness in a more proactive, preventative way. So each week I pick a topic that is either slanted toward emotional wellness, physical wellness, or spiritual wellness. Sometimes the uh, subject encompasses all three, or two, or one. Tonight, really, I think, is more emotional and spiritual wellness. But I think we know by now that everything is connected. So if you are not spiritually and emotionally well, you're probably not going to be physically well either because we carry those burdens uh, in our physical bodies then when we're hurting elsewhere. So tonight is going to be a little different. We are going to talk about a book that I had read in a Bible study years ago, and it's called Fight Back with Joy, Celebrate More, Regret Less, Stare Down Your Greatest Fears. So, um, the title of tonight is Joy Bombs. And believe it or not, the content of the book is very sad, very, could be seen as very depressing. The author went through, she had cancer. And so it was her journey of finding, being diagnosed and the trauma and the illness itself and how it changed so many things. But the biggest thing was her faith and how it helped her through all this, and how sometimes in the hardest struggles, when it's tempting to just give up, you somehow find that will to fight. And she chose as a weapon joy. And it's just a phenomenal story. And I just want to read you some quotes from the book that are just wonderful. And then I'll tell you a personal story about it, about joy for me. And if you don't have joy in your life, that's going to age you as quickly as any chemical. So this is important. Joy is important. So here's some of the little tidbits, and I highly recommend the book. It's by Margaret Feinberg, and I will put it in the comments later. Joy means holding on to hope in God regardless of the outcome. Now, when I'm referring to God, I want you to know that it's whatever you see as a higher power, the universe. It doesn't matter to me how you perceive that. She is a minister, so that's her language. So joy means holding on to hope in God regardless of the outcome, declaring we will give up everything and entrust ourselves more fully and wholly to the one who holds all things together. And then this is just beautiful. Create your own permission slip for joy. Write 3 words: accept, adapt, depend. Carry this permission slip with you. Tell your friends you're working on becoming more content, more joyful. Take a nap. Live with a messy house for a time. Order takeout. File an extension on your taxes. Stare out the window. Linger in the company of a friend. Breathe in the fullness of life. Use those words to fight back with joy. Who would think of using joy as a weapon? I think that's very, very intriguing. Another quote is, more than whimsy, joy is a weapon we use to fight life's battles. Joy would not deny the hardship, but would choose to acknowledge and face it no matter what the outcome. So we're not denying we're in a struggle, no matter what that is, whether it's cancer or a loss of a loved one or loss of a job or whatever it is. It it's a struggle. Sometimes we need to give space for grief in order to make room for joy. No one is immune to sorrow, and only those who learn to grieve well can recapture the healing it brings. So denying that you're hurting isn't the answer either, but just not to wallow in it and blame and all that. When we fight back with joy, we embrace a reality that is more real than what we're enduring, and we awaken to the deepest reality of our identity as beloved, joyful children of God. Just as light needs darkness, so joy needs grief. The journey to joy begins with acceptance. So once she received her diagnosis, she didn't go directly to joy. She had to grieve. She had to, process, but she didn't stay there. I define joy as a spectrum of emotions, actions, and responses that includes gladness, cheer, happiness, merriment, delighting, dancing, shouting, exulting, rejoicing, laughing, playing, brightening, blessing, and being blessed, taking pleasure in, and being well pleased. Fighting back with joy rarely makes sense. And that's so true. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to do the Bible study, because when I read those passages in my daily meditation or in the Bible about finding joy in all things, even the struggles, or when I hear of some tragedy and I can't fathom how people get through it, and they show such grace, it mystifies me. So I was hoping to get that answer in this Bible study. And I got closer, let's put it that way. Joy is irrational and takes hard work and does not always deliver a happily ever after. So she did not know that she was going to come out of the cancer okay, that she would live to another day. But she chose joy no matter what. So I don't think it's a coincidence that she did, recover from it because of her essence, her joy. And the last one is going to go into what I want to share with you. We need people who will reach out and hold our hands whenever we find ourselves walking in the dark, people who are quick to put our hearts at ease and swift to remind us how much we are loved. These are the friends who refresh us deep down when we need it most. These relationships are gifts worth seeking. Developing flourishing friendships takes time and intentionality, but these become the people who ground us and keep us going. They become peepholes through which we glimpse the kingdom of God, inspiration to become the best possible versions of ourselves, even in the most difficult circumstances. So I want to end this with sharing memories of my dear, dear friend, Marianne. And if I get emotional, so be it. I lost her she was 60 years old, and it's been at least, gosh, maybe 9, 10 years now, if not longer. I miss her every single day. But this is what's so compelling about this woman. She was born into hardship. She was born with several handicaps, and it was only through the fight of her, I believe her aunt, that kept her from being put in a mental institution, because back then people thought that if you had any kind of physical handicap, that you were also um, mentally handicapped. And so someone in her family fought for her to be brought home and basically treated like a normal kid. She had a club foot and a spinal injury, so she typically was in a wheelchair or used canes or something like that. And this woman spent much of her childhood in hospitals, and God just touched her, filled her with spirit, and she felt it was her responsibility to care for the other kids there and make them laugh and escape their drudgery. And she was a source of joy for anyone that was around her from this young age. And so as she grew older, she still had that giving heart and that desire to help people and bring joy. And so by the time I met her, our kids were in a religious ed class at the church we went to, and we were both teaching. And she walked with two canes, and the kids adored her. And she was ornery and she was funny and feisty, but she had this glow about her. And for a while, I was intimidated because I didn't really, I just knew she knew some secret. And how do you have that peaceful glow? What I wanted it. I didn't know how to get it, but it intimidated me as well, because she just seemed so exceptional. And it was a night that we were at an overnight retreat with the kids. So her daughter and my kids were around the same ages. So um, we ended up at a lot of the same functions. And we bonded that night. And there's so many wonderful memories together. But she, you would think that having been born with a handicap, that that would be enough tragedy for someone in one lifetime, enough um, enough of a challenge. And then to find out at 59 that you have cancer, I don't know how you keep your faith. I don't know how you keep your joy, but she did. And that woman was the party girl at the treatment center. And when I would go to visit her, and maybe I had a migraine the night before, and I don't hide things very well. And but I wanted to be there with her. So I would go. I took my medicine. I was sort of groggy, but I went, and she knew right away I wasn't feeling my best, and she was worried about me. And those people are special. And my wish for you is that you have that type of person in your life, or you have had, and that you've been giving a real example. You didn't just read it in a book, because I'll tell you, when you know someone like that, when you've been graced with their presence, their friendship, their being, you cannot wallow in self-pity. You cannot stay down for very long, because all you have to do is remember the spirit of that person. And I consider her a guardian angel. And so thankful my kids knew her, and my husband, and we just became such good friends and took trips together, and just I feel so blessed. She was adored by so many people. And adored is not a word you hear much anymore. So I encourage you to seek out people you adore and who bring joy to your life. And if you don't know any, then you be that person. So sorry for the emotional. I knew I was going to. Um, but joy is very important. I do gratitude in the morning and have a joy journal at night. And they're two different things in my opinion. So the joy bomb comes from the book, and she would talk about experiencing joy bombs throughout the days or weeks and noticing them. So I would love to know, what's the most recent joy bomb you've experienced? I saw 3 deer in our backyard a couple days ago, and that made my heart so happy. I love seeing them. They're just beautiful creatures. So that's a joy bomb for me. So please comment your joy bombs. And if you know of a person that was that, is that, or was that example for you. So till next time, choose you, choose natural, choose now.